or 5th graders, this is the multiplying decimals reteach. Let's work through some examples to better understand. Modeling. Let's go ahead and model 2 times 0.3. We're going to read this equation as 2 groups. So that's my 2 groups of 3/10. So we need to understand that a tenth is represented by 10 squares. So I know every vertical line or every horizontal line has 10 squares. So I'm going to do 2 groups of 3/10. So here's group number 1. 1/10, 2/10, 3/10. That's group number 1. Group number 2, 1/10, 2/10, 3/10. So when I am solving, I see that I have 1/10, 2/10, 3/10, 4/10, 5/10, 6/10. Now let's look at another example. We're going to model 7/10 and 3/10. Now this is just extra information, but 100th is represented by each square. So that really doesn't help us in this case, but it could in our product. So then here we have 7/10. It doesn't matter if so we're modeling decimals times decimals. I'm going to model it vertically and horizontally. One factor is going to be going up and down. The other factor is going to go left and right. So 7/10. I'm going to just do it this way, horizontally. 1/10, 2/10, 3/10, 4/10, 5/10, 6/10, 7/10. Do the other factor vertically. 1/10, 2/10, 3/10. 1/10, 2/10, 3/10. Now, where both of them meet, or both of them cross, right here. That's going to be our answer. So we'll count each square. And then remembering that 100th is represented by each square. So what that means, when I'm thinking about place value, my answer is going to end in the 100th place. So I'm just going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. So 7/10 times 3/10 is 21 hundredths. Now let's go ahead and I'm going to skip through multiplying decimal by decimal. Let's start off by multiplying decimals by a whole number. So when multiplying decimals by a whole number, you're going to ignore the decimal. When you're setting out a problem, the decimal point does not have to be lined up. We're just going to multiply as if there are no decimals. Then I'm going to count how many times you would have to move the decimal point to the right to make it a whole number. You're trying to make that decimal into a whole number. Then finally, in the product line, move the same number of spaces in the left direction. So it makes a little bit of sense, but it makes more sense when we do it. So first we're going to set up our problem, but we're going to multiply decimals. What I need to remember also is when I'm multiplying decimals is that I do not have to add any decimals to my whole numbers. That's only for addition and subtraction. So I'm ignoring the decimal, now I'm just going to multiply. 3 times 7 is 21. I'm going to put the 1 on the bottom and recoup the 2. 0 times 3 is 0, plus 2 is 2. Now I'm gonna here count how many times you would have to move to the decimal point to the right to make it a whole number. And I'm talking about in our factors. So here I move my decimal over one place to make it a whole number. So starting in my product line, I'm going to start in the back and then I'm going to move it forward or to the left one place. So then my answer is 2 1/10. So I want to count how many places we're moving in each factor. Now the reason why we're starting with whole numbers is because when we multiply decimal times decimal, we use the exact same skill. We're following the same rules as we're multiplying by a whole number. This time, count the total number of times that we would have to move the decimal point for both factors. So let's go ahead and practice. I'm going to write my factors, and I'm not lining up my decimals. I'm just lining up the ones place. We're not even ones place, the tens place, the last digit. I'm going to line up the last digit. That's a better place. That's the correct way to say it. So I'm just going to ignore the decimal, and I'm just going to multiply. 6 times 2 is 12. I keep the 2 on the bottom and add 1. 6 times 1 is 6, plus 1 is 7. Now I'm done multiplying with the 6. I'm going to add a 0 in the ones place. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 1 is 3. I'm going to go ahead and add 2. 7 plus 6 is 13. Carry the 1. 3, 4. 432. Now I go back to my decimals. I'm going to count the total number of times that I would have to move my decimal in my factors. So in order to make 1.2 into a whole number, I'm moving it one time. In order to make 3.6 into a whole number, I'm making it one time. So I'm going to have a total of 2 places. Now going down to my product line, I'm starting in the back, and I'm going to move it up 2 times. So my answer is 4.32. Now let's go ahead and apply this skill, because this is where our issues come, is in our reading comprehension. Robin has 3 2500 feet of thread. She wants to finish a pillow that she is making. If she needs twice as much thread as she has, how much thread does she need? So we're trying to figure out how much thread she needs. We want to figure out how much thread she needs. So we need to find information that has to do with the thread. So I know she has 3.25 feet. But she needs twice as much. So that 3 is twice as much, means that I'm multiplying by 2. And how am I just going to solve? 5 times 2 is 10. Carry my 1. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. 3 times 2 is 6. Now I'm moving my decimal over 2 places. So in the product line, I'm going to move it over 2 places. So how much thread does Robin need? Robin needs 6.50 feet of thread. Now go ahead and work on the back part of this reteaching document, and on the back part is your retest. You will have 4 problems to solve, 3 word problems, and some true and false vocabulary. When you are done, turn it into to your teacher, and you will get you can get a higher grade than what you got the first time on your math test.